What is up, everybody? I'm here with a new video, a little bit on traveling in college. Um, Now, the biggest thing of this video is that I get asked all the time, like, why are you looking at flights all the time? You're a broke college student. I even say, hey, I'm a broke college student. Don't ask me to dinner. Don't do all this stuff. But the reason is because I save my money and kind of aim everything towards traveling instead. Instead of saving up for makeup, I'm saving for flights. Instead of saving up for tattoos, I'm saving for flights. So that's just kind of how it works. I do put money aside for school. That is very important. It's part of my budget. It's part of the agreement with my family. But there are times when they'll be like, yeah, here's, this money for your birthday. Use it how you want. And again, that money goes towards travel, future travel plans, etc., etc. I'm not gonna lie, I spend a lot of time looking for flights and doing all that kind of stuff, probably more than I would recommend others doing. It is definitely a hobby and something I actually dedicate time to. But the one thing I would say is don't accept normal prices for what they are. Actually do some searching. Go on Skyscanner, go on Momendo, go on fly.com, go on cheapflights.com, all that stuff. Check out all those comparison websites and see where you can find the best options. Also, don't keep your dates super strict. The stricter you keep your dates and you're like, I have this one weekend, and I've done that, it definitely, you restrict yourself in the deals that you can find. I definitely know there are some websites like fly.com, Momendo, and a few other ones where you can do fair calendars, so you can kind of look out months ahead of time and kind of see what the cheapest flight options are. And some of them are on the weekends. Not all of them are during, the Tuesday to Thursday or Wednesday to Tuesday. There is some weekends in there. I know the most recent travel I did was to Chicago at the beginning of March, and we went for a long weekend, leaving Thursday super late, so really early Friday technically, and we came back Sunday night in time for class on Monday, and it was a great experience, super cheap flights, and it totally worked out. It was like $20 more than it would have been if we flied later, but honestly $20 when you're talking about flights is nothing, so we didn't even worry about it. To get the dates that we needed, but we were looking at like 20 different weekend options instead of restricting ourselves to this one weekend. Like, I've been trying to find flights for Memorial Day weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend first of all, so finding cheap flights is ridiculous, and a few other things. 3, if you have the time and the desire to just travel, like, I'm not really picky of where I want to go. I know I have a list of places that I want to go and I'm aiming for, and I'm saving up for certain trips. But at the end of the day, I also just have a desire to get on a plane and go somewhere new or somewhere familiar. Whatever works. But if you have a little bit more flexibility of where you want to go, there's websites that you can go on that will allow you to search in everywhere or flexible. A few of those websites would be fly.com and Momendo. Momendo is really cool. You type it in, you set dates, and you can put in random dates if you want. Just to start looking, and then just put the airport, like your home airport. For me, I live in the Central Valley, but I always put in San Francisco because flights are usually cheaper, unless I find where I'm actually going, and then I'll start looking up Sacramento to see if I can get a deal for similar, so I don't have to pay for parking at the airport or getting a ride to the airport and all that kind of stuff, because that just adds more money. So if it's only going to add like $15, then I'll probably just fly to Sacramento instead. But in most cases, flying out of San Francisco, especially if it's for longer than an hour and a half flight, is a way better deal. So like going to Chicago, it made way more sense to fly to San Francisco than Sacramento just because of the airport that we were going to. But like when I went to Phoenix, it was only a 2-hour flight to begin with, so I definitely flew out of Sacramento instead. Because it would have just added another 2.5 hours to my only 2-hour long trip. Wouldn't have made much sense. And it only added about $30 to my flight, so it wasn't too bad. But I would say in general, the 4th tip would be to fly into and out of larger airports and major ports, and then either get trains or have friends or family pick you up from those larger airports, stuff like that, public transportation, all that sort of stuff. When I went to Chicago, we flew into O'Hare, which was a larger airport compared to Midway, but it also put us further away from where we were staying, so it was a little bit longer of a CTA, which is their central transportation. ride to get to, the loop and where we were staying and everything, but it was definitely worth it at the end of the day. We got a way better deal, and it only cost us like $2 in public transportation to get the further distance, so it was not a big deal. My fifth tip would be, if you want to travel, save money for as if you wanted to travel and it was a priority. I know for me, it's definitely a priority. It's something I think about all the time. I plan it out. I look at flights all the time just because it's something I'm passionate about. But if you're, not like that and you're not just looking to go anywhere, start saving now. Even if you don't know where you want to go, just start setting aside a few dollars, even like when you get change, start like coin jar, any little bit helps. And when it gets to like holidays and birthdays, if you get money from family members, consider putting some of that, unallocated money towards your travel fund and kind of keep it separate. I know that I'm applying for internships this summer, and so I'm setting aside money, and I don't even know where I'm going to end up being, but I know that I'm going to need money while I'm there, so, and to get there. So I'm starting to set that aside, even though my plans aren't necessarily in place. So that'd be my fifth tip, is start saving, even if you don't know what you're saving for yet. My sixth tip and final tip would just be, don't listen to people that tell you can't travel, or that you have the rest of your life to travel, or that you need to go on some really expensive spring break trip with friends to experience things. Ultimately, there is a lot of budget-friendly ways to travel. Taking public transportation, staying in hostels, couch surfing. Couchsurfing.com is a great website because you can find like verified couch surfing hosts that aren't super sketchy. Workaway websites where you work to stay places is another great option. There's all these different things that can save money, and it's really up to you to decide how you want to travel. I know when I travel with my mom or my really close friends, we kind of stay middle ground where we're very budget conscious, but we also don't sleep on people's couches. Whereas I personally, when I'm traveling by myself and looking forward to traveling in the future, I don't mind doing those more eco-friendly, very, very budget conscious routes. So there's definitely different levels, and you just have to save for those trips on those different levels. And always having an emergency fund in case something goes wrong, and like a backup plan is always essential, because sometimes those eco options don't always work out, and then you end up having to buy a different plane ticket because something got changed and it wasn't a flexible date thing, whatever else. So those are the risks you take. Always have backup money just in case, and just know the level that you want to travel with at. So if you don't want to travel in like super tiny seats and on a super eco airline like we did when we went to Chicago, then that's up to you. But you need to know that going in so that you can plan and save accordingly. But don't go for the big markets when it comes to planning your trip. Kind of do a little bit of research and kind of find the best route for you. Because sometimes package deals are great and sometimes package deals are not. At the end of the day, just be willing to travel, have fun, stay safe, and do your research, and it'll be great.